Why does everything and everyone want to just bend us over nowadays? So I'm having kind of a, I don't know, I'm evaluating my life and I'm like, where did I go wrong? You know, I spent a great many years preaching about being debt-free and how great the freedom of it was and just how should not buy things on credit or, you know, pay subscriptions or pay fees and all of that shit. You see, when I quit my job and I began to realize just how many ticks and leashes are on our balls on a regular basis. You know, and by that I mean all of the fees, all of the subscriptions, all of the price gouging, all of the profiteering, all of the opportunistic, you know, everyone's trying to take every last ounce of your money and time, you know, and not leaving anything for your own personal life, you know. So many people are busting their ass 70 hours a week, and they still can't pay their fucking rent. Why? Because they're getting sucked on by nearly every corporation, nearly every organization, and if they're not sucking your money, they're sucking your time. Wasting it with useless entertainment that does not fucking, you know, it doesn't hold a candle to what we used to watch. And having gone back and watched older movies now, you know, I felt this sense of, wow, we've really fallen quite a long ways in the last 20 years. You know, and can we ever turn it around? You know, I try to be optimistic, and I do everything I can in my personal life to try and turn things around, but life just keeps kicking me in the nuts. So, the latest thing, don't buy a new car. Anything newer than 2019, or maybe even 2018, to where they start cramming all of this technology and safety features and horse shit and plastic and fucking more plastic with some plastic printed 3D printed horse shit with a patent on it that you can only buy the part from your fucking dealership, that kind of shit. My air conditioner, now mind you, I've had this lovely van that I've paid $34,000 for last year, and I say pay, but I mean paying, as in it's probably going to be 50 grand by the time I pay the fucking thing off. Well, the air conditioner stopped working. Now, I've had many shitty cars in my life. I used to, you know, be debt-free and drive cars that I paid cash for, you know. And the only way I could even reconcile this is using it to make money to hopefully make a profit with, but even that, I feel like that's not going to happen. And here's why. My air conditioner stopped working after a year. Now, usually I think, you know, okay, maybe it just hasn't been charged since it was brand new or something like that. So I bring it to, you know, a mechanic, you know, that services AC. Oh, we can't do that. We don't know what kind of coolant you have in it. And I guess if you mix them, you can end up in a fiery ball of death. So they told me I got to take it to the dealer. And this is not the first time. There's been the problem when my taillight didn't work. Turned out there was a wire harness fucked up. And nobody wanted to touch it. They're like, take it to the dealer. You see, a lot of the newer cars, and this is not just Toyota, this is other dealers. A lot of the newer cars, from what I'm seeing online, that are, you know, because I wanted to sympathize with somebody, I went and looked this shit up. And you should. New cars are pieces of shit. Just do a search along those lines, and you'll see TikTok videos and YouTubers complaining up and down, or reaction channels reacting to TikTok. All the latest lazy content, that's out there. So, what they're doing now is they're trying to do the same thing as you get with a lot of electronics and phones, and that's to remove the right to repair. As in, if you want to fix your shit, you got to go to the dealer and get the dealer approved parts. If you have a warranty, you can't even do anything remotely custom to your vehicle that you're paying a fortune for, or they'll deny your warranty. So I get in, and the first thing, I already told them what the problem was. I said, look, it just needs to be charged, okay? This is what I want you to do. I want you to charge it. Oh, well, no, we need to do a diagnostic. Now, the diagnostic usually consists of hooking up a machine that runs some coolant through and checks pressure and all of that shit. They wanted $200 for that. $200 to tell me it was broken. I know it's broken. I didn't pay you to tell me it was fucked up. I paid you to fix it. So I paid $200 for that. Now, being that I've quit my job and I don't have much of an emergency fund, can you guess where that $200 is coming from? That's right. The American fucking way. The way the government spends your tax dollars is the way I'm running my fucking finances right now, and it's the wrong. Don't do what I'm doing. I'm learning the stupid way. Not even the hard way. This is the stupid way. And I feel so dumb for doing it. So, I'm like, I gotta put this whole repair on the credit card. It's already kicking my ass. All I thought was maybe you get a $10 can of Freon and charge your shit, and yeah, if it's leaking, okay, maybe it'll take a while to go back to down or something. But yeah, $200 to find out it's broke. And then they wanted, let's see, 16, another $1,500 to fix it. Supposedly there were two, and I say supposedly because I don't trust them. I don't trust them at all. And they wanted more. They wanted like $1,800 total to repair this. And I'm like, look, I looked it up on the internet, and this should be $1,000 max. And that's when you're changing like compressors and that kind of shit. So apparently I had two lines leaking. And apparently the way the new vehicle is built, they're very difficult to change and get to. Yet somehow they still managed to do it in a couple hours. I was there for 4 hours, but they didn't start working on it when I got there. I was in the queue. And this is because they also had me order parts. This is Toyota dealership. They probably have a massive access to a parts warehouse. But I had to buy the parts first. But they didn't have them. So I had to wait over the weekend to do it. And so, long story short, they knocked $200 off, and I landed at roughly $1,500 with the diagnostic. And it seems to be working now. It's been blowing cold air again, so I have AC. Where do you think all of that thousands of dollars is going? On my fucking credit cards. That's right. I've managed to get myself a good credit score, and now I'm getting sucked into the same shit that has millions of people as debt slaves in this country. Those that give a shit about it anyway. And so not only am I now still struggling just to make my payments, having quit the job, I'm also paying for the repairs. I financed the fucking repairs. So basically, it's like resetting the clock on what I've already paid in equity on this vehicle. And that's equity before some dickhead slammed into the side of my fucking vehicle, causing me over a month without my vehicle and about $10,000 in repairs there. Now, I didn't have to pay that. The guy that backed into me, his insurance had to pay that. But we all pay for that. And every time you see insurance, it's not free money. You want to know why it's not free money? Because my insurance had gone up again. I don't know if it was because of this or because of all the stupid accidents I'm seeing out there on the road, but it's basically socialism for your car. If somebody steals a car and runs it off a road and slams it in a telephone pole, well, guess what? You're paying for that in your monthly premiums in your insurance, which the insurance premiums now, 30 years ago, were a car payment. So I've got all of these ticks and leeches on my balls right now, sucking every spare dollar out of me they can get. Not to mention the interest charges. Now, granted, one of my cards, not the one I put the repair on because I didn't have enough money on that one to do that. One of my cards is interest-free until December. So I'm kind of stacking a lot of my debt accumulation onto that card to keep me from jumping back in the truck. And ultimately, that's what's probably going to end up happening is once my credit cards become a little bit topped off, I'm going to have to go back to trucking and live in the box and pay down my debt and become debt-free again. And it could take 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. Who knows with the way freight is now? You know, and it's just everywhere I turn, somebody's trying to gouge me some money. And when you've quit your job and you're trying to just, you know, semi-retire and work as needed, you feel every last penny of that. That's why I got rid of a bunch of subscriptions. You know, I still have my AI stuff. I'm actually debating giving up on creating that version of content because there's no return on the investment. I get a little bit of watch time here when I put the AI generated shit here on YouTube. But all in all, I'm not getting a return on my investment. Not even close with the ad revenue on my videos. You know, now granted, I could crank out more content, but I don't have time because I have these huge debts that I have to pay. So if I had to do over again, I never would have traded my Prius in. I should have just gotten it fixed, you know, took the hit there, and then I'd still have relatively debt-free. I'd probably still have credit cards, but I wouldn't be fucking putting everyday bills and repairs on my fucking credit cards. And look around you. I'm not the only one. You know, if you look on TikTok, there's people that are in hundreds of thousands of dollars of credit card debt. And it starts just like this. You start in a deficit. It's so easy, you know. You got that plastic in your pocket and you just, oh, I got to buy that. Click. You know, there's no pain involved until the once a month where you get the payment and you look at the balance. You know, when you're just out and about, oh, I want a coffee. Oh, I want some food at this overpriced fucking $25 fucking fast food place. You just swipe your credit card. There you go. Bye. You know, and the banks love it. They give you points or reward cash while they charge you 28% interest. You know, the interest rates on my credit cards, it's robbery. It's right up there with the post-dated check place. Remember those? It'll, you know, cash your check early or your payday loans. Those. Where it was like 75% interest rate, we're getting there. You know. And with cars, they're not building them to last anymore. They're making it so you have to go to the dealer, and the dealer is going to rake you over the coals with how much they charge you. There is no way that what was broken in this fucking car cost $1,600 to fix. Even if I looked at the amount of time they spent, that's not a lot of labor. Where'd all my money go? Where's it going? And I didn't feel the pain when I swiped it, when I swiped the credit card to pay for the repair bill. No, I feel the pain when I look at my credit card debt climbing. And I don't like it because I'm not paying it down faster than it's going up. which means sooner or later, this is going to become untenable. But the problem is they keep wanting me to have more credit. I keep getting more and more credit card offers because everyone out there wants a piece of me. Once they see that you're paying your payments on time, it's over. They're coming for you. They will jack up your limits. I think right now my credit card limits are like 10 grand total. And that's too much. That's almost what used to be a used car that you just bought outright. And the interest, they're just going to be sucking me dry there. I'm trying to, I've already targeted one of the credit cards. I'm not using it for anything. And I'm going to knock it down to 0. And then, guess what? Until I have an emergency fund, which I won't have yet, I got to attack the next credit card and the next one. Until hopefully I get to a place where I'm paying off my debt faster than I'm accumulating it. So, when you add all that in, and the fact that I've been doing gig work full time, 40 hours a week at least. Not 70. I haven't done that. I won't bring myself to do that. I'd rather, if I'm going to do 70, I might as well be in the box. But all the gig apps, they're trying to fuck you. $4 rides with 2 stops. I turn them down now, but it gives me a hard time for turning it down. It's stressful. It's like, oh shit, my acceptance rate's now 50%, 60%. Well, it's because they keep sending me shit. Now, granted, every once in a while things are good. You can do $30 an hour, $29 an hour. And there is now a minimum in New York State, being $17 an hour. But how does that compensate me for the thousands of dollars of fucking repairs on the vehicle that I'm destroying doing this work? My Prius paid for itself almost twice over with the gig work I did with it. My debt's going up with this thing, with the brand new, well, it's not brand new, it's 21, but, the debt's going up. It's not going down. This vehicle's not paying for itself. It might break even a little bit right now, I don't know. But I'm going to have to work a full week of gig economy, if not 2 weeks. Actually, 2 weeks, the way things are looking. Just to pay that debt back. Meanwhile, my other bills, the insurance, the car payment, all of that, still chugging along. So I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it pretty hard. And I'm tired. Doing the amount of gig work I'm doing, I'm pretty fucking tired. My life is getting put on the line in this gig work. Like, not just from the traffic. The traffic is insane. I don't know how I haven't been in yet another accident yet. That's how crazy people are driving out here. No fucks are given. Nobody cares. The cops aren't pulling people over for it. They come and help clean up after the people mangle their vehicles in the middle of the intersection, causing a 1.5 hour fucking backup. Which I sat in today. I made $10 an hour today, earlier in the day, average, thanks to a 35-minute backup. Followed by issues with delivering, because I did a delivery at that point, to a person that had no cell coverage at their house. So that was a pain in the ass, trying to find a place where I could say, hey, I delivered it. And it's getting fucking old. Maybe I was better off in the truck, I don't know. But this, I don't know what the fuck to do. Like, obviously getting in the truck would give me a steady income, but I don't know that. I don't know what the freight's like right now with all the tariff shit and all the other bullshit going on. I'm sure I'd make better money in the truck, but I'd be giving up what little time I do get. Instead of 40 hours a week, I'd be doing 70. And then I'd be in the box for my time off, instead of with my girlfriend or, doing things I enjoy, which I haven't been doing a lot of, to be honest. When I get done at the end of the day, I've been watching Blu-rays until I fall asleep. I don't go out to the bar anymore. Me and my girlfriend once a week will go out to eat at this cheap place that we know, and maybe have a drink or two, and then go home and go to bed. And is this worth all, doing all this worth just being able to barely do that? I don't know. I do know that buying this thing was probably the biggest mistake I made. Now, don't get me wrong. I like driving it. And when it's not broken in the shop, it's pretty good. It's very comfortable. It's nice and spacious. I get lots of compliments from riders on it. When I'm taking them to their destination for $4 and they get in, wow, this is an Uber XL. Wow, this is nice. I like this. And then they don't tip. No. I'm working for peanuts to pay for the fucking van that they're riding in. No tips. Nothing. Now, granted, look at me. I'm not... people get, I guess, intimidated and feel like they shouldn't tip me or something. I don't know. But majority of people do not tip. And not only that, let me tell you a story. So, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. I got an Uber XL trip for, I think it was $22, $23, but it was a long-ass trip. It was from one side of town to the other. And, everything was fine with the ride. Everybody was spookily quiet, like you're in here and everyone's quiet. There's literally 6 people in here and me, and nobody's talking till towards the end. They started talking in another language. And I drop them off and I continue, and I get some shitty trips after that, but I was doing all right. Overall I was keeping it probably around $30 an hour. And then I get a message. Oh, they left some shit in your car. So I'm like, oh, great. And the message says, we'll give you $20 if you bring it back. So I pull over into a park. There might have been some 4-letter words uttered. And I search and I find a little thing. I'm not going to be specific on here. I find their item. I take the picture and then I call them and I say, I have your item. I will bring it there. I'll be there in about 25 minutes because that's the ETA. I got their address and everything. And the first thing they say to me on the phone is, they're not going to charge me for this, are they? So in my head, I'm like, so you want me to drive? And at the time, I was a good half hour away, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, somewhere in there. So they want me to bring their item all the way back to them for free. And I just knew that this was going to be something that screwed me. Because I had this funny feeling that they're not going to pay whatever Uber charges them. Or they'll do a chargeback or some other horse shit. So I bring it to them. They were very happy. And then I immediately contact Uber and I'm like, hey. So I gave them their stuff back. Can I have my money now? Well, they had to transfer me twice. Now, this was after going through the nightmare of AI chatbots and lists and forums and horse shit on the app. Finally, the AI gave up because I kept telling the AI that, I already did that. I already did that. I already did that. I already did that. Well, they said type agent, so I typed agent, and eventually I got an agent. That agent did not want to help me and sent me to another agent. And after a while, that agent says, well, I see it. It's in the processing phase. You should see it within 24 hours. And then they send me an email saying I should go through their support process, even though I'd already done it several times. I still don't have that $20. So that bringing their shit back, that was free. Makes me wonder, maybe I won't put my glasses on in the future when I'm looking for people's shit. Their lost shit. So, that ate up the time. And there's opportunity cost for that trip as well. Not only was I not getting paid to bring their shit back, but I lost out on continuing to make money, doing the trip. So it's like a double whammy there. I didn't get paid, and then I couldn't make any money along the way. Looking at it again, I should have just kept taking trips, and then if I ended up in the neighborhood, then maybe I would say, hey, do you want your shit? But, didn't work out that way. And meanwhile, I just freshly got this repaired. And I'm watching the pending charge on my credit card, knowing that that's going to really hurt. At some point, my credit score's got to drop, I would think, because I'm using too much credit. You're supposed to only use no more than 20 to 30% of your credit limit, or your credit score drops. It's like, let's face it, it's designed to suck you in and take everything you have, and then when you just can't take it anymore, then take whatever's left after that. That's what it's all for, and it's all based on time, because how much time you have to spend, time equals money, depending on your hourly rate. So here I am with apps that want to pay me the absolute bare minimum. For today, I had even the delivery app. They're gouging like a motherfucker. It's like $20 to go 35 miles. Motherfucker. Do you realize that's a loss for me financially? As in, the mileage that I'm putting on my vehicle is not being paid for or accounted for in their calculations. They're calculating time-based, not vehicle-based. Well, I'm driving a fucking vehicle that is depreciating with every fucking mile, not to mention the thousands of dollars of maintenance I'm going to have to put in it. The next thing on the list, I'm looking at the next thing on the list, and New York State has this inspection thing, right? For safety inspection. And I know from experience, because I've driven a lot of shitty cars in my life, that when you go in to anywhere, any mechanic that does inspections, they're going to try and tell you something's broken so that they get some money beyond the $15 to $20 inspection fee. And I know, I almost guarantee you that wherever I take this to get inspected, they're going to look at the tires and be like, nope, you need 4 new tires. Especially dealers. If I brought it to the dealer, that's a no-brainer. They'll be like, no, we couldn't pass you because your tires. We need tires. Granted, these tires are fine as far as I'm concerned right now. They've got me all the way through the winter. I didn't run off the road or none of that shit. They didn't rain or shine. They're doing all right. All right? I'm not losing traction. There's no skidding or spinning. I just know they're going to look at them and be like, oh, we can't pass your inspection. You need 4 new tires. And that's if I'm lucky. They might also look at the brakes and be like, you need brakes too. Even though there's nothing wrong with them right now. So, when my inspection's up, I'm looking probably at another $1,000 for tires. Because I'm already looking at tire prices, and that's what it's looking like it's going to be with labor. Another $1,000. So that'll be what? That'll bring me up to close to $3,000 in repairs, aside from the $10,000 for the collision damage repair that happened. And if anything else fucking breaks this year, it's a complete total loss. Of the year. There's no way I'll be able to dig out of the hole if anything else goes wrong. And I don't even know if I can dig out of the hole with the tires having to get replaced. So, and you might be like, why haven't you been making videos, motherfucker? Well, that's because I'm stressed. And when I'm stressed, you get a video like this, which I don't like to make. Seems like I'm whining and crying a lot. But I'm tired. fucking tired. And I don't know. I feel like everyone's just trying to take every penny they can and every ounce of your time. And at what point do you give up and you're just like, you know what, fuck y'all. I ain't paying anything anymore. I ain't making any money. I ain't doing nothing. I'll go out and fucking hold the sign up next to all the other motherfuckers holding the sign up. I bet you that motherfucker holding the sign up by the freeway is making more money than I did today. When you account for expenses. And their only expense is whatever drugs they're on. So that's where I'm at right now with my journey for semi-retirement, is I'm now working full-time in the gig economy. As for my reselling, I haven't listed in a while because I just haven't had time or energy. Once I'm done with this, and believe me, gig work, rideshare in particular, sucks the life right out of you. You know, it's almost nonstop. You know, yeah, you can take breaks whenever you want, but if you want to make good money, you're not gonna. But it's back-to-back work, and it's nonstop traffic, nonstop people, nonstop customers. And some customers are good, but a lot of them aren't. You know, some customers take care of you, but that's like 1 in 10. Everyone else is looking to, you know, get the $4 ride. That's what they want. They want the $4 ride, and they want you to make 2 stops during that and to be fucking happy with it, and then they don't tip you on top of that. You know, and I'm not going to take those rides anymore. Right now, my minimum's going to be $7. $6 if I'm desperate, $7, and that'll be what I'm doing going forward. So, yeah. That's what I'm at with that. Reselling's not working. YouTube ain't working. YouTube doesn't want to pay me to do work either. And who can blame them? All they need to do is use AI to make content nowadays. You know, I'm noticing that on YouTube as a viewer, that a lot of the stuff that I look up nowadays is AI generated shit. You know, articles written by ChatGPT, read by an AI voice with AI art or AI stock footage in the background as they talk about various things. And yeah, it's entertaining, but I know it's AI. I've worked enough with AI to spot it easily. You know, that gives you that uneasy feeling. And I feel like, you know, yes, I use AI. I'm a proponent of AI, but not lazy AI. You know, I spend a lot of time coming up with my AI-generated content, and it's usually stuff that is original in thought, not written by ChatGPT. And so much of that content is flooding YouTube right now that it's taking up ad revenue. You know, there's only a finite amount of watch time people have. So the more time they spend with AI generated horse shit, the less watch time us authentic YouTubers get. That's why I'm filming this in my car. Apparently it's the only way we get views nowadays, if we film in our car and people can look at it and say, yeah, he's in his car, there's no way that's AI. Although I'm sure it will be in time. Once people catch on, you'll see motherfuckers in their car AI generated. And, you know, it's fine. I guess it's progress. Can't stop progress. The cat's out of the bag there, but also means that you're going to have content creators who can't afford to spend time making content. You know, especially if they're in debt like I am. So that's why I've been struggling to even make videos. I haven't really had time to make much music either. You know, I keep hoping I get to. Most of my music making happens when I go up to Canada, and I can't do anything else when I'm visiting my girlfriend. Which thankfully I still have that option. But even then, this last weekend, I was supposed to go to Canada. I had to cancel. I told my girlfriend, I'm like, look, I got a $1,600 fucking repair bill. I have to work through the weekend. And I did. And she came down here instead, and we did deliveries together for a little bit. And then when she went back home, I did some ride share, but I really couldn't do much because my air conditioning wasn't working. So I had to either do ride share or deliveries, and that's pretty much what ended up happening. But to be fair, I did take most of Sunday off and spent it hiking with my girlfriend. And then we just went out and hiked together and had a day. So, but that's the thing. It's limiting my ability to go up to visit her in Canada because I have this bill. And we're almost halfway through the month, and I got to pay my car payment and all my credit cards. And the balance is still going to grow this month. So, I'm not breaking even. I'm in a deficit. I need to fix that. I'm aware. And I'm going to figure it out. But just know that I'm still trying to make it a year without getting back in a truck. Still trying. But it ain't looking good. Because once them credit cards pass a certain threshold, I'm going to be like, I can't. I gotta go make steady money. Instead of this gig economy shit where they're just trying to nickel and dime and rip you off for the labor you're doing. It's... I don't know how they expect us to survive as a business. I think they just rely on desperate people. That's what I think is going on. That's why I think you get the $4 fucking rides and the 50 cent a mile fucking deliveries. It's because there's some desperate motherfucker just got laid off from his job that's going to take that gig. Because the guy, something's better than nothing, even though you're losing money when you do that. It's coming right out of your equity of your vehicle. And yeah, you don't feel it now. It's like a loan that, you're going to keep paying back for double the amount, because you're eventually going to have to replace your vehicle because it's going to fall apart. Because it's hard on a vehicle to do gig economy work. So, and it used to be you could still profit. Like my Prius, I did well with. But it wasn't brand spanking new genre. It wasn't a COVID car. Basically anything after 2020 is a piece of shit. With subscription shit, and they got fucking SIM cards in here to tell them where my shit is and to share my driving patterns and my fucking information so they can make more money off that. And if one fucking thing breaks in here, most mechanics won't touch it. They'll send you to the fucking dealer who's gonna just bend you right over the desk. Okay, you ready? Here's how much it's gonna be. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired. I'm not giving up yet, but I'm definitely bitching. I'm definitely looking around my life and saying, how did I get here? I used to be good at this. I used to be good at personal finance. I used to always have an emergency fund. I've traveled all over the country on hardly a penny to my name because I was debt free. That's not an option right now. Unless I put it on a fucking credit card. So, yeah, I'm in the same shit as everyone else is with debt right now, and I don't like it. And I feel like a fucking complete moron for doing it. So, let me know in the comments. How fucked are you? Some of you are going to be like, I'm just fine. I'm a 70-hour-a-week truck driver. I make $5,000. I don't have any debt. Well, good for you. It ain't me. And it ain't a majority of people I know either. Alright, I'm done bitching. I'm sorry. I wish I could have gave you a happy video, but I didn't have it in me this week. Maybe next week. I need to get out in nature. That's one thing that's certain. I'm going on keto. Still planning that. That's happening in June after my gig. I'm hoping when I travel for this gig, it gets me, makes me feel better than driving around my shitty town all the time with people who don't appreciate what I'm doing for them. Maybe doing some work in some of the creative space, even though it's not really creative. It's more of just, some work that I wish I could do full time. That I feel like I'd be a lot better off too. I wouldn't be depreciating my vehicles quickly and that kind of shit. And that's going to help. Having that gig coming up is going to make a dent in this repair bill, but that's pretty much it. I'm still going. It's not going to pay the whole thing, and it's. I don't know. But I think once I can get out in the woods and do some camping, to have some reward for what I'm doing. Because right now I'm not doing much in the way of dopamine. Hopefully that changes soon. Alright. As you can plainly fucking see, I'm not an expert. I'm just an asshole. Please like and subscribe for more shit. And I'll make more shit when I'm not busy being bent over to pay my credit cards and my car loan and all this debt that I'm getting my ass into. Don't buy a new car. Don't buy a new car. Save up. Drive whatever fucking car you got now until it's paid off. And start saving. And buy you something like 2016 with 59,000 miles on it or something. And drive that. I'm telling you, it may seem good till it starts falling apart on you. And look it up. It's not just me. All right? I was hoping because I went with Toyota, it wouldn't fucking happen. In fact, some of the channels that I watched on the subject were like, I never heard of the Toyota Sienna going bad. While they're, going off on how Jeeps are falling apart and SUVs are shit and, and even, mighty Tesla, that's one of the biggest offenders, actually, and how much you're going to pay. But, yeah, I was laughing when they said, oh, I heard nothing about the Toyota Sienna. Well, that's because they didn't make enough of them. They were on back order. And now they're suffering from similar flaws. Maybe they're not as bad as, Jeep and some of the others that are just horrible with all of this. But, yeah, the Sienna is not immune. But who knows? Maybe this is it. Maybe I'll go another 50 to 100,000 miles without a major multi-$1,000 fucking repair. Is what it is. But new cars ain't going to save you that. Nope. They got just as much chance as of breaking down, if not more so in some cases. And when they do, they're going to cost you 3 times as much as what it would cost to have a used decent car pre-2018, 2017 time frame. Be careful out there. That's all I gotta say. But what the fuck do I know? I'm not an expert. I'm just a fucking asshole. If I was an expert, I wouldn't be in fucking debt again. God, I fucked that up. I really did fuck this up. And it's my fault. It's not like I'm not taking my personal accountability. I'd like to think that I'm intelligent enough to see this shit coming. And I still did it. I still couldn't resist. I had visions of me doing road trips and car camping in this thing, having so much more room to sleep comfortably, and it still being a hybrid so I could climate control all night until the AC falls apart and costs $1,600. At least I got a couple camping trips out of it so far. But yeah, those visions are going to be gone. As I let people tear up my vehicle and wipe their ass on my seats and, bring bed bugs in here and all the other fucking shit, and people spilling drinks and food, and sometimes they bring beers and open them up in here, and I'm just like, really? Really? And I try not to work the late evenings because of that, but yet here I am, having to work later. So yeah, can you tell? Can you tell I've been in a mood? Anyways, Have a nice motherfucking day. I wonder how many fees I gotta pay today. I feel like everywhere I go, there's a fee. Alright. Well, back to work. Don't buy a new car. I'm telling you. You'll regret it. It'll feel good when all you have to do is sign a piece of paper that says they're gonna fuck you. And you don't read it. They just say, oh, it just says we might fuck you a little bit. You just sign right here. That's how it's presented to you. And if you don't sit there and go line by line and be like, wait, what's that? You know, when I hear warranties, they'll deny it. If you fart in your car, they'll deny your fucking warranty. You know, they didn't even give me a warranty on this. Why? Because it had a recall for one of the rear airbag sensor things or something like that they can't fix. So recall that they can't fix. So they couldn't give me the Toyota Care warranty when I bought this. And nearly 2 weeks after, I had to bring it in because the taillight didn't work. And it's an LED. It's not like it burnt out. And of course, anywhere I brought it, we're like, hey, you gonna go to a Toyota dealer? And I demanded at that point, look, I'll pay for the part. That's it. All right. Let me know in the comments. How are you feeling about things financially? Are you fucked like I am, living in your credit card shit? I hope not. I hope it's just me. I hope I'm the only dumb motherfucker on here and that y'all are smart, savvy, financial motherfuckers that have paid off house, paid off car, no debt. Inspire me. Tell me how great your finances are compared to mine. Of course, it'll depress me a little bit. All right, have a nice motherfucking day.